Good evening and welcome to the Candidates Forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. My name is Angela Ryan and I am the president of the local league. Tonight we welcome the candidates running for the Canton Township Supervisor, Clerk, Treasurer, and Board of Trustees. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We do not support or oppose any candidate running for any office. The League does take positions on issues after careful study, so you may see our name attached to an issue that we are advocating for or opposing. Membership in the League is open to all citizens 16 years of age or older, so if you are interested in joining this public service organization, please see one of the League members here tonight or get an application from our website, lwvnorthwestwayne.org. The League's main mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation in government. One of the ways we do that is by having forums such as this one tonight. The League has also prepared a nonpartisan voter guide for this election, which can be found online at vote411.org. Print copies of the voter guide will be available at the Canton Library by October 12th. You can also find a link to the voter guide on the League's website, lwvnorthwestwayne.org. And there are bookmarks on the table out here that give you both of those web addresses. If you would like to ask questions of the candidates, and we certainly encourage this, please write your question on a card and hand it to the usher in the aisle. Our moderator will ask as many questions as time allows. Questions should be brief, to the point, and should not include personal attacks on the candidates. We reserve the right to screen the questions for duplication and clarity. Our forum tonight is in 4 parts, beginning with the candidates running for Canton Township Supervisor. We thank Canton Township for allowing us to use their facility tonight. The forum for all sets of candidates is being videotaped and will be available on our website within a few days after tonight's live event. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates and not of the League of Women Voters. At this time, I'd like to introduce our moderator, League Vice President Paula Bowman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paula Bowman. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. We're pleased that you all could join us tonight as we hear from the candidates running for Canton Township Supervisor, Clerk, Treasurer, and Board of Trustees. As Angela said, our forum is in 4 parts. The first part is devoted to the 2 candidates running for Supervisor. Our questions tonight are coming from the audience. We've also gotten a lot of questions already by email. Each candidate is allowed a 1-minute opening statement, a 1-minute response to each question, and a 1-minute closing statement. We will rotate the order of the candidate who responds to the question first. In all of the forums tonight, the candidates are seated in alphabetical order. League member Lori Kelly is our timer tonight. She will be holding up cards so that the candidates know when their time is almost up and when it is time to stop. Let's begin with the opening statements. Dr. Taj, can you introduce yourself and give us your opening statement?
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for trying to arrange this debate, because I think it's very important for the people to know us. And the only way people can know us is when we talk about ourselves. So, good evening and peace be upon you. My name is Sayyid Taj. I'm an American Muslim of Indian origin. I'm not a socialist. I'm not an extremist. I'm a physician. So all my life I've taken care of people, and this is a natural extension of what I have done in my life. I started at about age 16 when I went to pre-medical. I graduated before my 22nd birthday, and here I retired as the chairman of Department of Medicine, and I've been a Canton Township trustee, and I'm running for supervisor.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, and good evening. After 25 years of dedicated community service, I think I'm well qualified to be the next supervisor of Canton Township. My passion is Canton, and I will ensure that we will continue to be proper stewards of taxpayers' dollars through good governance, and transparency. Also, I enjoy attending as many events in the community as I possibly can. to get a handle on and get a feel for what's important to our residents. I believe that Canton has been a leader in many areas in terms of governance, and I know we want to keep Canton a very vibrant, evolving, and diverse community. My passion is to ensure that Canton remains a great place to live, work, and play. I love Canton, and local government should be about service and not politics, not only for the residents of today, but the residents of yesterday and the residents of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Taj, we'll start this first question with you. What will your goals be for the first 100 days once you assume the office of supervisor if you are elected?
I think the priority has been the cost of the legacy, which we have been working for the last several years. So we found out that we have been spending 47% of our revenue coming to the township on the cost of the legacy. We want to make sure that when we spend within our means. And so that is the first one. The second one would be make sure that our police force and the fire department, they have enough manpower as well as they have all the current equipments so they can continue doing the services they provide. And we want to also work with the county for the crumbling road we have. And I can tell you today that I have a very good working relation as well as an endorsement from the chief executive of the township, of the county, and we will be looking forward to working with him and join hands with all the projects we have.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, same question?
In terms of first 100 days in office, the number one priority is to sit down with the newly elected board of trustees and get their thoughts and ideas on where they believe Canton is today, needs to be in the future, and make sure that we are all aligned in terms of what our priorities are going to be. From that, we've got a lot of benchmarking information and data that will be shared with all the newly electeds and compare ourselves to what other communities have done well and what some have not done so well. Additionally, we have a gating process that will come out of sitting down with all the newly electeds, whereby we will prioritize yellow, green, red, what needs to be done. We'll get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, we'll start this one with you. Do you support the proposed Regional Transportation Authority proposal? Why or why not?
Absolutely not. It's a $4 billion boondoggle there's no benefit or very little benefit for Canton taxpayers. In Canton, we've saved taxpayers over $14 million the last several years by staying out of the SMART program. In Canton, we have the community busing system for the aged and handicapped and anybody who has needs for the services. And we excel at getting people where they need to be, when they need to be, at little or no cost in most cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taj. Same question?
My answer is I'll support the bill. And the reason I do support the bill is because there has been lack of transport between the Wayne County, the Oakland County, and the Macomb County. So we need to have a regional transit system where people can go to these communities, and especially the disabled one. And we are very close to the airport. We are a manufacturing town. We want to move our products in different places, different counties. So I would support the bill.
Thank you. We'll start this one with you, Dr. Taj. What are you going to do to change the direction of Canton government to focus on benefiting the residents and less on the developers?
Well, I'm a pro-growth, pro-business person, and I think once the township was expanding, there was definitely a need for new developments coming through. But with the new developments, there has to be things which the developers have to do. That means they will have to work with our planning commission. Also regarding whatever services they are going to provide. Especially, it's very important that when we develop an area, we must make sure that the surrounding area, like entry, exit, and the road development is accordingly there. So we need to work with them.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Okay, in terms of congestion, new development in the community, I don't disagree that at times it's very tough to get around town. Ford Road is an absolute nightmare, and most of our residents understand that and avoid it at all costs. That being said, I learned in 2008 through the past years that developers who want to develop private property, as long as they're within the federal, state guidelines, there's not a whole lot we can do to stop a private developer from developing property. But we can work with them to make sure that the residents are involved in the redevelopment process. Also, furthermore, I think it's important to note that the master plan is reviewed every couple of years, gone through, and make sure that we have the infrastructure in place for the new development, as well as engage Wayne County for the roads impacts. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, if elected, how would you support the arts in our community?
Been doing it for the last 8 years. I sit on the Community Arts Council, as well as was a former board member of Partnership for the Arts, and not only through my time and dollars have gone into the arts community for years. And we just recently had the exhibit for the Fine Arts Awards at the Village Theater, which I hosted for the last 6 years. So I love the arts, and we're going to continue to grow. It's good for the community.
Thank you. Dr. Taj?
My wife is an artist, and obviously this is one of those things she also loves and wants to do. I definitely want to encourage people in the private sector try to work with us, and definitely money is a big item, and we will go to the community to have as much funding as possible and try to continue and develop it further.
Thank you. Dr. Taj, do you have a position on the Canton rental property inspection plan? Do you have any plans to make any changes to it?
Also, this came up when I was on the board of trustee at that time, and I think it's a benefit for both, especially people who are renting their property, because a lot of time your property gets damaged by the people who are renting. So there should be an inspection beforehand what you have. I used to live in Dearborn Heights. When we moved, I rented my property there and it was inspected. And the people did damage it, so I knew what went wrong. So I think I would encourage that, to have the property inspected.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Why that the changes in the property inspection were brought into Canton Township is because we had Section 8 housing on the east side of town where the owners were doing a lousy job maintaining that property for the residents. We needed to have something in place that gave us the teeth to go after those guys to maintain the property for those people. I do believe, however, over the last year and a half, by examining what we've done, how we've done it, in terms of solving an issue that was real, I think we've done a good job there, but we may have overreached in terms of the single-family home, one guy renting one property out. I think maybe we've gone too far, and I would like to take a look at it again. But we certainly did solve a significant problem with the ordinances.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, some residents feel that some groups, such as high-end homeowners or business owners, receive preferential treatment from township officials. Please comment on this, and if elected, will you pledge to treat everyone in the community equitably?
The question at the surface, I think, is I don't want to call it ridiculous, because if you're a Canton Township trustee board member, you treat everybody the same, whether it is the apartment renter or the corporate guy. We don't have favoritism or special deals on any place in Canton Township. And if you know me, I don't care who you are, you call me, we're going to sit down, we're going to have coffee. I'll spend time with you. There's been a couple times where I've been engaged with residents where there were needs they had that I couldn't help, but maybe professional help was needed. I mean, there's over 100,000 people living in our town. You call me, I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taj.
Well, when you are elected, you are going to serve everyone, and you are not going to discriminate between anyone, whether they are businessmen or whether they are poor. I think everyone should be treated equally, and as a physician, that's what I did all my life. I never discriminated in between my patients, whether they could pay me or they could not pay me. So my priority would be that we want to keep everyone equal and treat them equally. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Taj, what do you think is the biggest challenge the township faces, and what is your plan to fix it?
Well, when we are campaigning, the only complaint we hear about our crumbling roads in the neighborhood. So that's the biggest challenge we have. And unfortunately, being a township, there's no direct fix. But I do have a plan for that. And there are several plans I have in my mind. Number one, I have to go beyond my boundary, go to the county first, go to the state, if not, go to the federal government, because that's where all the monies come. Also, you can always look at what the county can come up with. There's a thing called PA 51, in which we can ask the legislator in that state to make us a super township. And when you're a super township, you will be treated just like cities do, and then you will be getting money to help with your crumbling roads and infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yes, very quickly, I think, just to answer the super township, that's something that was done in the state of Ohio. And in Canton, we are a charter township. We are the highest level of a township that you can be, and you're not going to gain any more additional access or to have the dollars flow directly into Canton Township unless we were to become a city. Meantime, between time, the two biggest issues are the roads, which we need to work closely with Wayne County to make sure that they're working on the top priorities for our residents. Number two, 30 seconds, that's not enough time for this question. Ford Road is a huge issue. We've got the #1 accident site in the state of Michigan. None of us are proud of it. And Melissa McLaughlin, our current treasurer, has a master access plan that she's been working through that, along with some DDA funding and cooperation with property owners, I think we can do a lot to address on the short term, the congestion on Ford Road by elimination of several right-hand turns. In the meantime, between time, like Dr. Taj just mentioned, we want to continue to chase the boulevard for Ford Road, and I have to stop now. Thank you. Sorry, Lord.
Mr. Williams? The residential development by Robertson Brothers Homes across from Fellows Creek Golf Course was left incomplete for a number of years. Recently, other Robertson Brothers projects have been approved by the Township Board for development. Should the township require a developer to finish and pay the expense of one development before starting another?
That's actually a great question, and yeah, 2008, when we came into office, the economy was tanking, and there were a lot of organizations that went bankrupt. In some cases, I kind of jokingly asked my friend John Anthony to use his FBI skills to chase down a couple of the guys who skipped down on us. That happens. That's the economy tanked, they left. With that, new owners come in, new partnerships are formed, and that's who's developing the property today. And again, if they're doing everything within accordance with the laws, we have to support them. Thank you.
Dr. Taj?
I really don't have any comment because I didn't know much about that at that time, but I remember the time when the Robertson brother left town. And then after that, I've been out from the township for 4 years, so I didn't know much. But I agree with him in that sense that we really can't do too much about it if they have done things within the law.
Thank you. I'm sorry that we don't have time to ask the supervisor candidates any more questions, so we're going to finish up with our closing statements.
Wow.
Mr. Williams, if you could give your 1 minute closing statement.
I'm sorry, how long?
1 minute?
1 minute. Wow. Yeah, rewound the tape. Okay. All right. Again, on the opening, I'm about community service for all the residents. I'm not about politics. I'm asking everybody here tonight and at home that watches this video, please vote for me as for supervisor in 2016. We're not running a hospital or a clinic here. We're managing a community on behalf of all the residents of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'd love to get your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Todd?
Well, with my experience as a physician, I have been in the leading role for the last 38, 35, 36 years. I bring in the leadership to town. I've been with Canton Community Foundation as one of the board of directors. I bring that skill with me. I'm also with the TSA, and I am CEO of multiple physician and hospital organizations. So I bring all this experience with me. So I will be a good fit to take over as the supervisor if I'm fortunate enough to be voted in by the people of Canton. So, and also one thing is very important. In democracy, you want to have your people representing you should also represent the people with the changing demographics. That's why I have put a great slate to run with me so that once we are elected, we will be able to do that.
We'd like to thank the candidates who participated in tonight's forum for the Canton Township Supervisor. We ask the audience to remain seated while we take a quick break and switch the supervisor candidates with the clerk candidates. So thank you for coming.